Props, tips and tricks. The first one is to have collections of small objects so that you can rotate through them, so that you can use them to build the habit of repetition and chunking practice. And this will kind of depend on your child. I have a lot of students who like building block towers. So for that you will need some blocks. Start with a small collection. Start with 5 or 10. Every time you get something right, every time, it doesn't even need to be right at this stage, every time you repeat an idea, put a block on the tower. And then when you finish, when you run out of blocks, you get to knock the tower down. And usually the excitement of getting to knock the tower down, and again, important that you don't have too many blocks involved, means that we want to do it again. So if your child is 3 or 4, don't have more than 5 blocks. 5 is heaps. For a 5 or 6-year-old, I would gradually extend from 5 blocks up to 10 blocks, and then keep the chunks very small. Maybe it's in the beginning, it's just tucka, tucka, stop, 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 cross, tucka, tucka, stop, stop. Yes, that's a block, and off you go. Tiny chunks. If the activity takes more than 3 or 4 minutes to complete, it's going to be too long and we're going to lose interest before we get to the climax, which is knocking the blocks over. Stickers. Bust out your craft supplies. Paper stickers aren't a big deal to stick on clothes and pull back off again. And really, if the worst thing your child is doing is covering their face in stickers, you have nothing to worry about. I routinely cover students in stickers at their lesson, and then afterwards they can put the stickers wherever they want. They can put them in their book, they can put them in the bin, I don't care. But it's a tangible way of tracking an achievement. And because what we're doing is so abstract, and as soon as we've done it, it's over. Once you've played the note, it's finished. There's no evidence that you ever played the note. This type of stuff is a tangible reward, and for some kids, putting a tick on a sheet isn't really enough. That doesn't mean anything to them, but getting a sticker is awesome. So I always have a lot of stickers lying around, just little ones, nothing really fancy. Cool. Pegs. If you have a washing line, you probably have some pegs. Mine are little craft supply pegs from Kmart, which you can buy online because Kmart delivers. So that's a really handy thing to know right now. I have a lot of them because I often use these with slightly older kids who don't want stickers, but who still think it's really funny if I put like a peg on the hem. I usually put it on the hem of their shirt down here, or in their hair, or in my hair, or something, right? Have fun with it, be silly with it. Maybe your child would rather the pegs go on you. If you're putting them in your hair, I'd rather put them in my own hair than in a child's hair, just FYI. But again, they're just a way of tracking repetition and of staying engaged and focused on practicing a small chunk, because often once we've got the tiny problem worked out, the temptation is to practice a much bigger chunk, and then we're straight back to failure, which is demoralizing and upsetting. These little guys came off eBay. They are little miniature planter cats. So again, you can buy them online, and they've all got different faces. And they come out of a box when we're having trouble with something. I might line them up on the stand, and then you get to knock one off every time that the chunk is repeated. Or conversely, I'll balance them on the violin for each chunk, and then they go to the stand for their victory lap. Have fun with it. You don't need to make up a novel. You don't even need to make up a story about them. This is just a way of tracking repetition and making practice a fun habit rather than, right, now do this 10 times. Okay, play with it. Use your props, and don't be scared to have props. There's nothing wrong with props. Oh, one more. Very old school, nice and simple. Abacus. Fun because if you have a violin, or if your child is willing to share their violin, you can pick a colour each, and that's your level of points. So you say, well, this is my line and this is your line, and let's see who can get their 10 beads across first. And then once you get those 2 rows of 10 across, there's more waiting. So don't push it. Be really happy if you get 1 race to 10. That's awesome. That's really fantastic, and you don't need to do more. But some kids will want to extend the activity. Others will be very happy to stop at 10. Be led by your child here, and don't push them, because it will create a feeling of resentment and, I did exactly what they wanted, and then they just asked me to do more. So always stop while we're celebrating the success, and that might be we completed the activity. That's success. Learning how to complete is success. Even if that string crossing wasn't perfect, once you've met the goal, however many repetitions was set as the goal, stop and celebrate the success. That's totally okay. Speaking of success, let's talk about string crossing. When practicing twinkle rhythms, it's a great idea just to start on the E string. That's because there's only one other string you can hit. For every other string, well, for A string, there are two other strings you can hit. For D string, there are two other strings you can hit. And a lot of kids just have trouble balancing on G at the moment because this is still new. So we've started in our rest position. There's a whole tutorial on Pretwinkler posture, which you can find. I think it's 5 or 7 minutes long, where I put a sticker on the back of my violin here, and there's a little song where we whip it out, goes up to the top of the head, comes down to the shoulder, and then we turn our nose. And when this is secure and always being positioned on the collarbone, we can extend the left hand out. For parents, the next idea, once we've got secure rhythms, is to get first finger coming on. And when we do this, it's falling down from the sky and it's tapping the string with just enough force to put the string against the fingerboard. We don't want to squeeze, we don't want to crush or exhibit any more tension in the left hand. We just want that finger to drop on. And this might be a week of practice, or 3 weeks of practice, or 3 hours, or 3 minutes. I don't know. Every child is different. I like to do it like this. Taka, taka, boom, boom. Ready, jump. Ready, jump. Ready, drop. Ready, jump. I used to say ready, pounce. And I bet you know what happened. Yeah, all my students started slamming their first finger down with violent, reckless force. So now I say ready, drop, and let the finger fall onto the string with gravity, and that's resulted in a lot less tension in the arm. Ready, jump, because we always want the fingers to spring up out of that placed position. Let me grab a permanent marker and just talk about which part of the finger hits the string. Now, after doing lots and lots of practice, people develop little lines on the tip of their finger, and interestingly, they're diagonal. Okay, that makes sense. The string isn't going to contact this way because that's not the way your finger faces. When the finger drops, you're looking at your fingernail, so you're actually contacting the string with a diagonal line, like that. So it's from slightly off center on the fingernail, kind of in towards the middle of the fingertip. There. And it's not a bad idea to find a permanent marker and put, you don't have to do lines, you don't have to talk about this, but you can put dots on the tips of the fingers. So we talk fairy fingertips, marching fingertips, raindrop fingertips, whatever you like, bullet fingertips, whatever's going to work for you in your house. But drawing on the tip of the finger so we understand that this is the contact point, that bit there, the tip, rather than this is the contact point, squashing and flattening the string, is a great habit to get into. And all of our fingers make contact at that point, which is also why you've got to check fingernails. If fingernails are hanging over the tip of the finger, then we're going to get poor left hand finger posture, or we're going to get the finger rolling over the nail. Either habit is undesirable, and we can easily set ourselves up for success by clipping fingernails and putting finger dots on. And the feedback is pretty fast and immediate when you put permanent marker dots on your fingers, because a flat finger means that you can see the dot. When I look down my fingerboard, that black dot is visible because my finger's lying back like a sausage dog. Okay, so no sausage dogs. We like greyhound dogs or poodles, or again, play with it. You don't have to come up with Shakespearean plots. Just give your child some words to hang on to so that you've got a code for, hey, put your point shoes on, or get up on your tiptoes, or something like that. So we've mastered a twinkle rhythm. We've got the hang of... That's all working well? Okay, great. Our next step is to get that first finger dropping on and springing up. Then we do it with all our other rhythms. You can go for a walk around the house. Please do. Walk up and down the passageway, poke your head in at every bedroom, go and say hello to the dog, walk around the outside of the house, do whatever works. Up, drop, up, drop. Oh, elephant, elephant. Drop, up, drop. So at first, always encourage a stop and prepare, because we don't want... Elephant, elephant, stop, on. Jump up. Stop, on. Jump up. And, oh, same thing. When you get to kookaburra, watermelon, watermelon, whatever words you want to use, stop, on. Stop, off. Stop, on. Jump, off. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Now, that probably sounds like the easiest one, right? Because the bow's not really busy. But I don't teach it first, because it is the easiest one. If we give a moderate challenge and then stretch through those more complex rhythms and then finish with something easy, we have, I can do that. Oh, that was easy. Because we think about the last thing we did. Oh, that was really easy. If we start with the easiest thing and then only get harder, this is getting harder and harder, and I can't do this. When can I stop? I don't like this. It's really hard. So we want to think about shaping the narrative and marketing. This is the complicated way of saying, if we tell the child it's hard, they will say it's hard. I've never met anyone who's been told, right, this is really difficult. It's going to be a huge challenge. You'll need to practice it a lot. And gone, oh, great. I love things that are really difficult. Oh, awesome. I would be honest and, oh, this is challenging. I'm finding this tricky. Are you finding it tricky to do this? That's okay, because I know that when I stop and practice things that are tricky, they get easier. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Let's just do this tiny thing, because it's only one tiny thing. And I bet that when we've done it 5 times, it will actually be lots easier. And then when you've done it 5 times, make sure you follow up on, oh, I feel like that's easier for me now. You don't have to say it's the easiest thing in the world. I'm not expecting you to tell lies or make stuff up, but try and talk through the learning process so that you acknowledge something is complex or something is challenging. Avoid the words like really hard, too hard, difficult, because they all have negative connotations. But our tone of voice and the vocabulary we use can do a lot towards shaping perception. And I think if we position ourselves as being capable of overcoming challenges and being capable of making tiny steps forward, and then being capable of making tiny steps forward consistently, suddenly we realize we've come a very, very long way. Which is why when your child actually does this, it's huge. That's a big thing to celebrate, because it's not actually about the rhythm. It's about overcoming all the challenges of posture, bow hold, standing, concentrating long enough to do all that, then put the bow on the string, and then articulate the rhythm. So stop and celebrate, because you're doing an amazing job. I'll put up a tutorial that is more child-focused rather than parent-focused around these skills and repetition, and you'll see some of my props make an appearance. Have a little scavenge around at home, and if you don't have anything, Kmart online will help you out with, oh, they have these nice magnets too that I also like. My dot magnets appear in many videos. Have about a dozen of them on hand, always good. And often in their kids' stationery section, they have fun stuff like the little novelty erasers that are great for balancing. So spend a little time with Kmart online. You can do some click and collect or delivery options. And I will pop up a couple more videos that are focused on your child.